In America, everyone counts, and the 2020 census is how that great promise is kept. Respond today online, by phone, or by mail, and help inform hundreds of billions in funding for education, health programs, and more. Shape your future. Start at 2020census.gov. One of the things that Ohio Supreme Court, they ruled that the Secretary of State cannot limit counties to only having one mail drop box. Republicans have been attacking one of the Democratic judges. Scott, this is unheard of. The Ohio Supreme Court Chief Justice, a Republican, is blasting the state Republicans for their attack on that Chief Justice Maureen O'Connor of the Supreme Court of Ohio. I condemn in the strongest possible terms both the statement released by the Ohio Republican Party on September 15th, 2020, and its unsigned authors. The statement disparages the integrity of Franklin County Common Pleas Judge Richard Fry. The publication accuses Judge Fry of colluding with the Ohio Democratic Party and labels him a partisan judge. Every one of Ohio's 722 judges, 800 magistrates, and numerous active retired judges should be greatly concerned and voice their dismay at the irresponsible Republican Party allegation that politics control the judge's decision. This is a blatant and unfounded attack on the independence of the Ohio judiciary. Republicans, again, are masters at voter suppression. They don't want additional mail drop boxes, and this is how they weaponize secretaries of state. We saw it with Brian Kemp in Ohio. We saw it, in Georgia. We previously saw it when Ken Blackwell was Secretary of State in Ohio. Of course, we can go all the way back to 2000. Catherine Harris in Florida and numerous other states. These are the games they play in order to try to cheat to win.
Yeah, but the accusations against the judiciary, I'm not surprised, even though we have elected judges and was a Republican chief judge of the Supreme Court in Ohio, the judiciary has got to remain independent and have its integrity. And so this is the strongest statement the chief judge could make. Damn the politics, if you will. And he's absolutely right about that. This is the Republicans' efforts to legalize voter suppression. We've talked about their efforts in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and even in Ohio, because Ohio is such an important swing state and in the heart of America. You've got to come out against that. What's amazing to me is that there's not more outrage from Republicans and Democrats because about the Republicans who want fewer people to vote than an expanded voter population that makes all the sense in the world. It's such a fundamental constitutional right. You actually have a political party, an important one, a big one, and one of the two major parties who actually want fewer people to vote because their ideas are not that popular. It is anti-American, it's anti-Constitution, and yet that is a premise of the Republican Party. All of us should be outraged with that, all of us.
But the reality is this here. They're going to do what they do, Robert, and I keep saying this here. You got to go with the scene from Remember the Titans. You got to leave no doubt. You have to bury every Republican in every state. You must bury them with a wide margin. I'm not talking winning by 10, 20, 30, 50,000, even 100,000. I'm talking about you trying to run up the score. You got to run up the score in North Carolina, in Georgia. You got to run up the score in Florida, in Wisconsin, in Pennsylvania, in Michigan. And if you're the Biden-Harris campaign, you're going to be aggressive as hell. You're going to be putting money on the streets. You're going to be pushing every get out the vote group as well, because you have to leave no doubt, because Trump and the Republican Party are going to try, if it's close, they're going to try to do what they did in Florida in 2000 to throw out 10, 20, 30, 50, 100,000, as many ballots as possible in order for them to steal a victory.
Well, you're completely correct. And remember, we have 2 Senate seats up for grabs here in Georgia. Pastor Warnock running for one, and John Ossoff running for the other. And part of what I think Democrats make a mistake is they still have this idea that they're going to get their voters back. Those 1960s to 1980s Democratic voters, the truck drivers, the Rust Belt voters, the working class white voters. And at the same time, you look at a state like Georgia, where you have a 35% African American population, 10 to 12% 45% of the Hispanic population. 53% of the state is female, one of the largest LGBTQ populations in the country. Get those people to vote. Instead of trying to get those rednecks in Brunswick to come back to the Democratic Party on economic anxiety issues, campaign to the people who will vote for you. Remember, Donald Trump won states that include cities. Yeah. Donald Trump won states that include cities like New Orleans, Houston, Philadelphia, Detroit, Gary, Indiana. Those are states that Donald Trump won. Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Miami, because you're not motivating your people who are in these urban areas to turn out in record numbers. If Hillary had gotten Obama 2012 numbers, she would have won. If Biden gets Obama 2012 minority turnout numbers, he will win. But they're not putting that work in. And as I said, I have not seen Joe Biden sit down on this show of Roland Martin to talk about what he wants to do for the black community.
Well,
sitting down Cardi B.
Back him to the poll.
But let's wait. Let's be clear. Hold up. 1 second. Invitation is in not only for Biden as well as for Harris as well. We're trying to lock that down. So that is happening.
Back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
As our community comes together to support the fight against racial injustice, I want to take a second to talk about one thing we can do to ensure our voices are heard. Not tomorrow, but now. Have your voices heard in terms of what kind of future we want by taking the 2020 census today at 2020census.gov? Now, folks, let me help you out. The census is a count of everyone living in the country. It happens once every 10 years. It is mandated by the U.S. Constitution. The thing that's important is that the census informs funding, billions of dollars, how they are spent in our communities every single year. I grew up in Clinton Park in Houston, Texas, and we wanted new parks and roads and a senior citizen center. Well, the census helps inform all of that and where funding goes. It also determines how many seats your state will get in the U.S. House of Representatives. Young black men and young children of color are historically undercounted, which means a potential loss of funding for services that helps our community. Folks, we have the power to change that. We have the power to help determine where hundreds of billions in federal funding go each year for the next 10 years. Funding that can impact our community, our neighborhoods, and our families and friends. Folks, responses are 100% confidential and can't be shared with your landlord, law enforcement, or any government agency. So please, take the 2020 census today. Shape your future. Start at 2020census.gov.